Left ventricular outflow tract obstruction, valvular aortic stenosis, introduction and background. The most common cause for congenital valvular aortic stenosis is bicuspid aortic valve. Up to 80% of patients with a bicuspid aortic valve will develop ascending aortic dilatation, which is discussed in section 4.7.2. For the management of aortic regurgitation associated with the bicuspid aortic valve, see the 2017 ESC guideline on the management of valvular heart disease. Now, clinical presentation and natural history. Patients frequently remain asymptomatic for many years. Progression of stenosis varies and depends on initial severity, degree of calcification, age, and atherosclerotic risk factors. In bicuspid aortic valve, progression is faster in those patients with greater closal line eccentricity and anteroposterior oriented line of closure. Prognosis is good and sudden death is rare in asymptomatic patients with good exercise tolerance even when stenosis is severe. Once symptoms, angina pectoris, dyspnea, or syncope occur, the prognosis deteriorates rapidly. In patients with bicuspid aortic valve, cardiac mortality has been reported to be 0.3% per patient year of follow-up. The frequency of aortic dissection is 0.03% and endocarditis 0.3%. Dilated aortic sinuses and or ascending aorta have been found in 45% of patients after 9 years of follow-up. Now, diagnostic workup. Diagnostic criteria for degree of AS are summarized in table 12. Specific clinical findings include the typical systolic ejection murmur over the aortic valve radiating into the carotid arteries. An ejection click can be heard and a thrill may be palpable. The ECG may show LV hypertrophy with or without strain. In patients diagnosed with a bicuspid aortic valve, coarctation of aorta should be excluded. Echocardiography is the gold standard for the diagnosis of aortic stenosis and for assessing the degree of calcification, LV function, LVH, and associated lesions including ascending aortic dilatation. With the Doppler echocardiography, the degree of aortic stenosis severity is determined from transvalvular peak velocity, mean gradient, and continuity equation calculated aortic valve area. For more details, see recent recommendations for the echocardiographic assessment of aortic stenosis. Transesophageal echo may occasionally provide more anatomical details about valve dysfunction or atrioventricular area planimetry in non-calcified valves. Exercise testing is recommended in asymptomatic patients, particularly in moderate to severe AS, to confirm asymptomatic status and evaluate exercise tolerance, blood pressure response, and arrhythmias for risk stratification and timing of surgery. Low-dose dobutamine or exercise stress echocardiography is helpful in aortic stenosis with reduced stroke volume and impaired LV function. That is classical low flow, low gradient aortic stenosis. Now, diagnostic criteria for degree of aortic stenosis severity. Vmax, maximum Doppler velocity. For severe aortic stenosis, if it is 4 or more than 4 meter per second, then we will call severe aortic stenosis. For moderate aortic stenosis, the maximum Doppler velocity is 3 to 3.9, and mild aortic stenosis it is 2.6 to 2.9. Mean gradient for severe aortic stenosis is 40 or more than 40. For moderate aortic stenosis, 20 to 39, and mild aortic stenosis is less than 20. Aortic valve area. Aortic valve area, if it is less than 1 centimeter square, then we will call it severe AS. If it is between 1 and 1.5 centimeter square, then it is moderate AS. If aortic valve area is more than 1.5 centimeter square, then we will call it is mild AS. Index aortic valve area. If it is less than 0.6 centimeter square per meter square body surface area, then it is severe AS. If it is between 0.6 to 0.85 centimeter square per meter square, moderate AS. If it is more than 0.85, then it is mild AS. LVOT velocity, aortic valve velocity ratio. LVOT velocity, aortic valve velocity ratio. If it is less than 0.25, then it is severe AS. If it is 0.25 to 0.5, moderate AS. If it is more than 0.5, then we will call it is mild AS. CMR and CCT, despite having potential for assessing aortic stenosis, is mainly required to assess dilation of the ascending aorta in cases where measurement is unreliable with echocardiography. Cardiac CT has become particularly important for the quantification of valve calcification when assessing aortic stenosis severity in low gradient AS. Although it should be noted that aortic valve stenosis in young patient is not necessarily associated with significant calcification. Cardiac catheterization is only required if non-invasive evaluation yields uncertain results for evaluation of coronary arteries or when percutaneous balloon angioplasty is considered. Now the recommendations for intervention in valvular aortic stenosis. The recommendations: symptomatic patients with aortic valve stenosis. In symptomatic patients with severe high gradient AS, mean gradient is more than or equal to 40 mm mercury, intervention is recommended. Class 1 indication. Intervention is indicated in symptomatic patients with severe low flow, low gradient, mean gradient less than 40 mm mercury, AS with reduced ejection fraction and evidence of flow, contractile reserve excluding pseudo-severe AS, class 1 recommendation. Asymptomatic patients with severe aortic valve stenosis. Intervention is indicated in asymptomatic patients with severe aortic stenosis and an abnormal exercise test showing symptoms on exercise clearly related to aortic stenosis, class 1 recommendation. Intervention is indicated in asymptomatic patients with severe aortic stenosis and systolic LV dysfunction, that is LV ejection fraction less than 50%, not due to another cause, class 1 recommendation. Intervention should be considered in asymptomatic patients with severe aortic stenosis when they present with a fall in blood pressure below baseline during exercise testing, class 2A recommendation. Intervention should be considered in asymptomatic patients with normal ejection fraction and none of the above mentioned exercise test abnormalities if the surgical risk is low and one of the following findings is present. That is very severe AS defined by a velocity maximum more than 5.5 meter per second. Very severe AS defined by a velocity maximum more than 5.5 meter per second. Severe valve calcification and a rate of V maximum progression more than or equal to 0.3 meter per second per year. Markedly elevated BNP levels, more than threefold age and sex corrected normal range, confirmed by repeated measurements without other explanation. Severe pulmonary hypertension, systolic pulmonary arterial pressure at rest more than 60 mm mercury, confirmed by invasive measurement without other explanation. Here the recommendation is class 2A. Now, concomitant aortic valve surgery at the time of other cardiac or ascending aorta surgery. Surgery is recommended when patients with severe AS undergo surgery for the ascending aorta or of another valve or CAVG. Class 1 recommendation. Patients with moderate AS undergoing CAVG surgery or surgery of the ascending aorta or another valve should be considered for additional valve replacement. Class 2A recommendation. Now, the medical therapy. Symptomatic patients require urgent surgery. Medical treatment for AS-related heart failure is reserved for non-operable patients. Neither statin treatment nor any other medical treatment has so far been shown to retard progression of aortic stenosis. Now, surgical or catheter interventional treatment. Indications for intervention are summarized in the recommendations for intervention in valvular aortic stenosis. In selected adolescents and young adults with non-calcified valves, balloon valvuloplasty may be considered. This may be the case in hemodynamically unstable patients as a bridge to surgery or to delay valve replacement in women with anatomically suitable valves and desire of pregnancy. In patients with calcified valves, the treatment of choice is valve replacement. Mechanical valves are more durable than biological valves or homografts, but require lifelong anticoagulation. The Ross procedure, two-valve operation, has been suggested for patients of childbearing age and for those wanting to avoid anticoagulation. Progressive degeneration of the homograft after the Ross procedure is the most frequent reason for reintervention during follow-up. Transcatheter pulmonary valve implantation has become an alternative technique for surgical treatment of the degenerated pulmonary valve. Transcatheter aortic valve implantation currently has no place in the treatment of congenital aortic stenosis, except in very rare cases with high surgical risk when technically feasible. Follow-up recommendations. Lifelong and regular follow-up is required, and the intervals depend upon the degree of stenosis severity. It is also necessary after valve intervention at minimum yearly intervals. Echocardiographic imaging of the aortic valve and aortic root to determine progression of valve stenosis and aortic dilation is mandatory. CMR or cardiac CT of the aorta is recommended in patients with a native bicuspid aortic valve. Patients with a history of isolated valve replacement where the ascending aorta is not well visualized on transthoracic echo, and in patients with root ascending diameters ratio more than 40 mm. In patients with root ascending diameter more than 40 mm. Additional considerations: exercise or sports. Patients with severe symptomatic and asymptomatic AS and those with moderate stenosis due to bicuspid aortic valve and dilated aorta should avoid isometric exercise and high intensity sports. In mild and moderate AS, more intensive physical activity is allowed. A prior exercise test to guide counseling is recommended. Pregnancy. Contraindicated in severe symptomatic aortic stenosis. Treatment by either balloon valvuloplasty or surgery should be performed before conception. In asymptomatic patient with severe aortic stenosis and a normal exercise test, pregnancy may be possible in selected patients. The aorta requires particular attention as bicuspid aortic valve related aortic dilatation may be induced and progress during and after pregnancy, and there is a risk of dissection. In infective endocarditis prophylaxis recommended only for high risk patients. Now this flowchart shows the management of severe left ventricular outflow tract obstruction. We'll look for level of obstruction. Is it valvular or non-valvular? If it is not valvular obstruction, Then we see recommendation tables for subaortic and supravalvular aortic stenosis. If the level of obstruction is valvular, then we will look for symptoms. If patient is symptomatic, then intervention is class 1 recommendation. If patient is not symptomatic, then we will look for LV ejection fraction. If LV ejection fraction is less than 50%, then intervention is class 1 indication. Then if LV ejection fraction is more than 50%, that is if LV ejection fraction is good, then we will do exercise test to unmask symptoms. If patient is symptomatic during exercise test, then intervention is class 1 recommendation. If exercise test is as patient is asymptomatic, then intervention will look for blood pressure fall on exercise. Blood pressure fall on exercise. If blood pressure falls on exercise, then intervention is class 2 indication. If blood pressure does not fall on exercise, then we look for risk factors and low surgical risk. If low surgical if it is yes, if patient has risk factors and low surgical risk, then intervention is class 2 indication. If there is no risk factor and no low surgical risk, then follow up is the recommendation. Thank you.